So thank you very much for joining this session. This one is, I think you had already get the briefing why we are doing this research methodology course, and then we all are assigned for certain topics. So my topics was actually in the ethics and the research. So I just put a general statement as a good research practice. So we'll discuss about this. I believe that all of the participants are having a lab-based, what do you call the research involved in the lab-based research for this campus, if I'm mistaken. So our focus will be on mainly on the lab-based, of course, but the research practice is generalized. It can be for lab-based, non-lab-based. But my next lecture will be more on lab-based. Okay, so for this one, good research practice, I think. Have you seen this news a few years back? That one of the South Korean professor who was almost to getting a Nobel for his unique invention, that means he discovered something. He was working with a Nobel, that means nominated team, and he was almost to give a Nobel, what do you call, prize. But at the end time, it was been found that some of his results has been faked. Some of the results has been faked, and then it was been actually ultimately it was been proved, even though he didn't agree officially, but he has to step down from the one, and he was a South Korean hero at that time, Dr. Huang. Okay, Professor Dr. Huang. And it was a really big blow for the whole scientist community, because at that level, somebody is doing something fake of that means faking the results to make it positive, and it was a very what do you call dimension changing findings. So a lot of things in future, because when you give a Nobel, it's not a very usual thing. It has been impact on the future research and other things. So his work was actually considered as one of the impact, but ultimately when it was found fake, so it was a big blow for the whole scientist community. So at that level, I think this was one of the biggest things. So from there, we had to learn a lot of things actually, which is already in there. We know, but practice-wise, actually, it can go that far that people can forge, and the scientists can do such kind of forgery when he was almost has the potential. Of course, he is a very good scientist and he has the potential to get Nobel. That's why he was been nominated or he was been in the panel. So, but at that time it was founded. So it was a very big blow for the whole science community. And then there was this case once happened that in USA, that there is a lot of cases of the fake results, fake or favorable results, to create the fake and favorable results to support certain groups, either hospital or the patient, whatever it is. So these are the things that is very important when you are doing some work or you are doing involved in research, because this is that what we are expecting, that when you are doing research, you follow some procedure and there should be some ethics to be followed. If you don't follow the ethics, then it will become dangerous. That means it will become very harmful for not for yourself and us, but it will be affecting the whole community. Because the fake things and the non-true things, if comes up as an outcome, and it somehow it didn't been it not been filtered or identified at certain places, so it might come to the whole scenario and it will be a disaster. Okay, so good research practice is actually what is refers to the plan conducted to the results and recorded and reported. That means there will be high level of transparency, and outcome of the research are circulated, applied, and explored. Okay, so when you achieve something from your research, then it has to be circulated. That means we do present. Yeah, that's why it is always what you call encouraged for the postgraduate students to give presentation, is it? So when you present the things, that time there are a lot of comments coming up from the audience. If it is there is a lot of comments coming from the audience, never take those comments as a negative. This is to improve your work, or to give you some inside view of the things which maybe your team has been overlooked, or it has been thinking along that way. So different viewpoints will give you different. So if it is aligned with your things, then it should be taken as a compliment, or it will be taken as a suggestions, or it to improve your things. Okay. So this good research practice is to aim to improve the high quality research among the researchers and stakeholders. Here, stakeholders are mainly the public and the government or the environment as well. Is it? The stakeholder can be environment, because your research, if it is impacting to the environment, then definitely it has a environment also become a stakeholder. Okay, so there are other parts as well, so I'm not going in detail. Honesty and integrity, these are the main policy. Honesty and integrity in every part of our life, we have to have this high, otherwise it will not come to any situation that will be good for us, that will bring any good to us. Hello. Yeah. Hello. Is there echoing? Somebody on the phone? Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, Prof, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Sometimes they make some noise, because otherwise I feel like I'm just okay. Thank you. Okay, so this honesty and integrity culture should be inculcated in the experienced researcher. That's just like postgraduate student, research assistants, and all the those work in the lab and other places. So to make it more transparent, and anything that can be trailed back. Traceability is very important whenever you are working. So that's why you see that everywhere they ask you the incident. What does the incident happen? So if you don't have a proper traceability of the thing, that means you're following the proper procedure, you're following the guidelines, and you are following the methodology properly, using the instrument and taking all the precautions, then the transparency or traceability is easier, that the mistakes or anything happen that can be easily tracked down, that what happened. Otherwise it will be difficult, that you didn't follow the things, and then there are some fake things there, or some parts are missing, then it will become very difficult for to investigation or to find out what is the root cause. Okay, because it is not to pinpoint the person, it is to pinpoint the process, what is the problem in the process. Okay, so that's why it is always very you have to follow the procedure, then only you will be having a proper way of doing it. And the responsibility of individual researchers are of the utmost importance, that we have to be, and our esteem has to be the high, very high, for to uphold the integrity in our and honesty in our work. So to implement the GRP, good research practice, it is the responsibility of the research team leader. That means the supervisor or the person who is in charge of the research in the community or in the laboratory or in the department or the faculty. So it is the responsibility of the one that how he is going to implement it and plan it properly. So it is to be planned in certain criteria, which we'll discuss in the next slide. Okay, so and then of course it's not just to implement it, but it has to be monitored regularly. Okay, monitored in a mean that everybody is wearing the proper PPE, the what you call personal, what you call precautionary gadgets or not, and everybody is doing the things following the procedures or not. So all the procedures and others will be available, of course, standard procedure, standard operating procedure, standard operating guidelines. Okay, but the implementation also has to be a part will be the monitoring, because the monitoring is very important. Otherwise, if we don't monitor, then there will be something going on without the knowledge of the authority, then it will be difficult. So don't be so usually whenever there is an inspection coming from the safety team or whatever, the students get very annoyed. You should not, actually, you should not. You should take, because if you are working properly, then you should not be annoyed about the thing. But if you are doing something wrong, and then you are not accumulating the waste at the improper place, and then not arranging the things properly, so make it as a practice, so that you are not annoyed when there is an inspection, sudden inspection coming, and you are getting a lot of compounds and all these things. So because these are part of the monitoring, has to be there. If not, then the things will go out of the things. Okay, so monitoring GRP, the training and supervision of new researchers, continuing professional development. That means training will increase the professionalism, is it? So your skill will improve, your knowledge will improve, and other things. And data recording and notebooks check regularly. So it's the supervisor. That's why I think in a few years back, CPS has implemented this logbook. From the CPS, they give you a logbook at the beginning when you admin, and then this logbook has to be signed by the supervisors regularly. Okay, this is because sometimes it happens that you are working in your own silo, and the supervisor, you are discussing with the supervisor, but ultimately you are not updating with your supervisor with your outcome. So there might be something, if your supervisor saw that, okay, what you are getting, maybe you have to change the course. Okay, so when it is find out that your supervisor asks you that, oh, okay, this one is not okay, we have to change. At that time, the students become quite frustrated. That so far as, so that's the reason for your safety as well. Regularly update the things that what you are doing and all these things. So the monitoring is part of the one. So you make sure that even though your supervisor don't, of course, they are all senior, all the lecturers, they're quite busy with all the things. They might not be able to see you. So proactively, I think the student should take the initiative that go and check, ask them to check where today's work or this week's work. Maybe not every day, maybe 1 week works you can compile and then ask the supervisor, can you just see what I have done? And these are things. And then you get a sign from him. So if there is some signature, that means there's some this type of things is there. So then it will become easier. So blame game will be not there, that at the end of the student will blaming the supervisor will blame the student. So these type of things can be eliminated or become less. I'm not saying that totally eliminated, but it could be one. It should be tracked back from aim, objective, and control. So you can have most trail, the trailing of the procedure and other things. Importance of GRP feature all societies of the representative major committees. Outcome of the research findings become a basis for constructing policy, rules, and regulations. As I said, that whatever will be the outcome of your research, definitely that's why we have the background of the research, the justification why you are doing this research. We have to put proper background and then what do you call the objectives, all these things, just to ensure that what is your research outcome and how it is going to imply in the society. All research need to be have some implication in the society or for mankind. So otherwise, it why you are doing, that's why you have to justify that what is the rationale of this research. Okay, so and then in this procedure you have to uphold your integrity and ethical standards. Okay, so all those ethical standards has to be maintained, just like you have once you are doing with the animal or you the what you call with the with human being. So you have to take the ethical approval. So ethical approval has to be taken. This is the primary objective. Before even you start the research, you have to take the approval, because that is a prime thing. The ethical committee and other things, they will look into the standards. Where are you following them properly, or there is something need to be looked into. So that's the and the researcher to adhere to the fundamental rules and good scientific. So if you are following good research practice, then you will not be indulged with bad research practice. There is what we call the bad research practice. Those are practice which are not really good, may not bring to any what you call conclusive or any constructive things in research. So those are the bad research practice, that you are not doing the things properly, all these things. So to avoid the bad research practice, we have to do the implement the good research practice. Truth and transparency, self-discipline, self-criticism, and fairness are indispensable for behavior of integrity, and the present of basic scientific activity and the preconditions for the credibility and acceptance of the science. Okay, so your results and your output has the credibility, is has to be proven. If you're not following that, you are not following a proper protocol and other things, then the credibility will be, that's why when once we send the report or your manuscript to the examiners or the what do you call the publishers, they do criticize, they criticize a lot of things. So that shows that what is the credibility of our this acceptance. Then they ask us to do something more, something more, something more, or improve more, improve more. At the end, it takes quite a lot of communication and others. Then we can get the credibility. Okay, now you are credible for the acceptance as a manuscript to be published. Okay, so these are the things. If you have follow the good good research practice, it will become easier. It's not that say it will become over. That means one time you fail, then you get the one, but it will become easier for you because you have the trail, and whenever they are commenting, maybe your rebutting will be more with more logic and more evidence. Is it? So once they question about certain things, if you can rebut with your practice and what you have done, and then with the transparency, then definitely they will consider the things and that you can prove. Okay. Elements of GRP: honesty. First of all, there is honesty. All researcher must refrain from plagiarism. I believe you know the plagiarism. So plagiarism, infringement of intellectual property, or the fabrication of data. This is a very common things, very popular among the students. They try, if they are finding it's not suitable to their results, they fake the data. Okay, so raw data faking is a crime. Actually, is a crime. This is a serious misconduct of academic misconduct. So there might be some very serious consequences if it is found. It is found that you have faked the raw data. If there is a faulty instrument and give you a wrong result, whatever, that's another story. But then the point will come that why you use that faulty instrument? Why you didn't check the calibration status? Why did you check the, what do you call, the instrument status suitable for use or not? Okay, so committing of these actions is a serious disciplinary offense, should not be. And then openness, you have to be open that what you are doing, you have to openness. But sometimes some of the researchers, they want to not very open in the class because they have something to be like they are scared of being taken over by other people, ideas and other things. And sometimes for the patent purposes, they want to not want to explain all the detail of the experiment and other things, because this is a competitive world, and then sometimes it might be happen that the patent has been done before. So there are certain reasons, but still the as possible to be open in terms of your findings and the use and everything. So whatever you'd like to publish and other things has to be as much open as possible. And then there is if you have an intellectual property, all these things, that is protected already. Okay, so if it's IP protected, then you don't have to worry about that. Okay, and accountability, of course, the accountability is, let's say we have a funder, that UIA or ministry or whatever, the founder, the accountability that what you have got the grant, the research has been done along that way, and you have some output according to the because in the funding usually there are certain issues there already in the, when you apply at that time you commit, you have an agreement with the funder that we will deliver these things. So if you are not delivering accordingly and you are not delivering according to their wish, then it might be considered as you are not showing your proper accountability. Okay, that's why if the group of research is doing a particular topic, then it should be focusing on that topic if it is funded by the specific funder. Okay, so because most of the research in the universities is done by some funders, at least it is funded by UIA. Okay, so if not a very big grant, but you are getting a funding from the, nobody is doing here research with their own money or pocket, unless it is a social science and other things, but that is okay. But for science purpose, you need some funding, whatever it is. So that's why you have to be specific to the funders. Conditions related to the publication ownership of intellectual property are followed as agreed. That means what you agree, that the funder agreed that you can publish or not, that will be on that basis. Okay, the funder wanted to be patented, so you have to apply for patent. So that is the agreement before they disburse the funding. So if you want to do some alteration, that can be discussed, but it would be what do you call? It has to be settled. Okay, so but there should not be any dispute on that. And leadership, actually the group leader will be responsible to implement the leadership. Leadership means he has to be a leader in a way, not to just make the people annoy, but to facilitate. Leadership should be in a facilitator. Okay, so the facilitator has to provide all the facilities and required things, and then he can ask you about the accountability, that how you have been extended. So there should not be, and then this leadership skill has to be inculcated among the junior people as well, the under the leader, there will be junior scientist, junior researcher. So it has to be inculcated. In certain time, you have to make the section leader, all these things. So it has to be the group leader should take the initiative. Okay, so he will train them how to become a leader as well. So how to manage the things, because the ongoing research is a big management has to be done. If you don't manage them properly, then there will be a lot of haphazard thing will happen. They will go out of time, they will go out of specification, and there is a lot of things can happen. Okay, so and then if you are working in a team, if you are not following the leader, then you might go astray. Is it? If you are not working with the team leader, you're not following the team leader, then you might go astray. You have to have the leader and you have to follow. And the leader's responsibility is also to take care of the community under him, and to also train them to learn the management and this management part of the leadership. Must also ensure that appropriate direction of the supervision. Research misconduct is least likely to occur. So any types of research misconduct is not expected or should not be allowed. Okay, should not be. It should be the pledge that the group should not conduct involved in research misconduct. Okay, then adequate supervision at all level, because there is some cases it happens that some supervisors, they are having so many students together, so they cannot concentrate on each, and the student at the end they work in isolation, and when terms comes for submission or other things, then the supervisor is not happy with that. So parts of it goes to the supervisor as well, because he couldn't give enough time to the one because of the way. That's why I think CPS now has restricted the number of supervision you can do at a time. Okay, no matter how senior you are, but still I think there is, just to make an adequate. But the researcher, the students and the young researchers, they should proactively try to have a communication with the supervisor to get the supervision or the team leader's direction, and update with him with all the findings and the development. The student should have a direction, research training appropriate, list of responsibilities, and we have a guide for supervisor. There is all sort of things are there. So please go through the guideline. I'm not going in detail. Okay, after that is handling novice researcher. Actually, this is the supervisor's part, that we have to handle them delicately. So then that's what I was just saying, that we have to handle them delicately. Of course, the sufficient amount of training will be required at the beginning, and a lot of exposure has to be made for different protocols and areas uses, and especially if you are using a very delicate area, just like you are using radioactive materials, then the bioactive materials, that means biological hazard type of material, that type of things has to be delicately handled, and the training has to be appropriate and proper, and with the proper supervision. Okay, then when you are working on that area or that type of things you're handling, at that time it has to be monitored or supervised by a trained people together with you. Of course, you will get the training and you will get, but whatever you are doing has to be more closely monitored. Okay, so the supervisor should not let anybody unsupervised for a while or whatever, and the supervisor should actually take initiative to meet them regularly. Okay, but as I said, the student has the responsibility to proactively look for supervisor. Just say you are working your own and you are doing everything, like then ultimately it will be more towards the end, it will cause a lot of conflict, and the conflict will never bring to a very conducive or very happy ending. It will be not a mess. So postgraduate code of practice, I think we have the CPS guideline and CPS rule, ethics rule, all the supervision rules, students, postgraduate student rule. So please look into those things once you got time, because these are things that you should know properly. Of course, your supervisors, we expect them to know, or we are getting through training. That's why CPS is conducting all this training regularly. Just like we are still attending the supervisory training, monitoring, student monitoring training, is it? Because online nowadays, and then all these different types of training the supervisors also go through. So students also go through different types of training, and mostly they will be directly trained by the supervisor. Okay, the supervisor is given the responsibility to train him accordingly. But of course, this research methodology course is done by under CPS. So CPS is helping you to know all these issues that related to your research. Okay, so training is a compulsory part, the research design regulatory, and that's why the CPS also conduct, I think, a lot of this research methodology, research design, research training, animal ethics. I think a lot of around the year there are a lot of trainings going on under CPS. Even under the Kulliyyah, there are a lot of training going on under the Kulliyyah's what do you call leadership, under the Kulliyyah's banner. There are a lot of postgraduate training going on. And of course, the supervisor is the one that will be give you the first-hand training for a lot of things, especially from starting from scratch until to my writing a manuscript. Is it? So you get properly trained. So it's good to have a lot of criticism during this training so that you can improve. Okay, so this the please don't take them offensive, as that means is offensive act for you, because at the beginning when you are not really criticized or you are not highlighting the your mistakes, then definitely you will never learn. Okay, so it depends on the supervisor to supervisor how he highlight the things, but you have to accept it because that is the things that need to be corrected at the time when it is happening, is it? So otherwise it will be the one. And then supervisor will also help you to look into the confidentiality and other data management, record keeping, and data protection, because as I said that a lot of things that need to be protected until a certain time or whatever. So there is a possibilities of the mishandling of the data. Okay, so that's why these kinds of things that you should follow the direction from the supervisor, because you are exposed to a lot of things. So some of the things should not be, it has to be confidential for a particular lab, or you don't want to disclose it for because you are planning to patent, is it? So those are the things. And you go to presentation, you don't want to highlight those part and things. It's okay, no problem. But the things is that ultimately it has to be declared when you have patented the thing, it will be public already. Primary data, there should be clarity where even relevant data and samples used to create it in course of the research, the result of the research. Primary data and samples. Okay, samples here I can give you an example like those who will be working with the animal. So it was found that usually we use the animal as a diabetic, hypertension, or kidney failure, those type of models. So we have to develop the rat, and we have to get a particular type of rat or mice. So these has to be outsourced from the animal house or some authentic places. But what happens? There was a case happened that there was certain rats or mice were been actually during the experiment they were they dead. That means they had some complications, so they died. So what the student do is he go to these pet shops, in Kuantan and the area we have the pet shop, and there are a lot of mice, but these are not like research type of this the dot breed of mice. So he bring, and he or she, I am not saying he or he, bring the mice from the cowboy or somewhere like there, and then replace it with the dead mice. Do you think it is correct? Anybody? Was he doing the right thing? He says, okay, this is a mice, so I just exchange with the mice. Is it correct?
No.
Anybody? Huh?
It is not. It is not correct.
It is not correct. Why?
Because you replace living for dead, and you have to replace dead for living.
Mm-hmm.
They have replaced it dead for living,
Mm-hmm.
and the correct is to replace. No, replace living for dead, and the correct one is to replace living dead for living, not living for dead.
Yeah. I think
that is my view.
Yeah, that's your view.
Okay.
But it's more scientifically is that because those models, say diabetic, there is diabetic model rats, these different types of rats available for different types of study. Especially those, if I'm mistaken, what was that? Dolly types of rats. I think that's for diabetic. So these are specifically developed, genetically developed mice for diabetic study. They will give the example. But if you're just buying a mice from the market and replace it with that one, then the whole study will be skewed. Is it? The whole study output will be skewed. Maybe you are looking into the histology, you might be looking into the blood level, something. So this one will be totally different from that one, because the experiment has been designed to have a very specific type of thing. So you have changed it with the one. Okay. Same goes for any other materials as well. Say you are specifically looking for certain particular type of plant. Okay, that is particular type, and then you just mix out with the, you have a shortage of, say you wanted to the what do you call, it used to be 1 kg yield, but it become like less than 1 kg, so you add up with some other plants. Okay, so ultimately what will happen then, this whole thing will be skewed. Is it? The actual result will be disguised. So that's why this is very important at this stage. Is the samples and other things you have to be properly handled, and then there should not be no such things to be. Okay. This is proper research practice. Generated during research should be kept securely in paper and electronic format. Yeah, a lot of it happens that the data was not properly kept, so it has been lost, and then there is not a backup records and other thing. So ultimately, it become a disaster for the student. So I can share with you one of my experience at that time. We had some output from some instrument which comes into thermal paper. Okay, so the output was coming into thermal paper, and then at that time actually was not come into the idea that it should be kept, you should photocopy or something kept there. But after a while, because the thermal paper become blank. Okay, so after a few months it become blank. So when we are looking for the data, then we saw all the papers were blank. Okay, so we had to redo the things again. And that time actually we came into the mind that we should have either scan it or we should have other photostat copy. So please, all these things, technical things, be careful. Otherwise, if it is a dot printer or something, dot printer is okay. Laser printer also okay. But sometimes if it is a thermal paper, when the output is coming like a ECG machine, the ECG is coming in a thermal paper. Okay, so if you are taking medical, what do you call? So then all these thermal paper, immediately you should photocopy them or scan them or take a picture. So because after a while, this one will become faded. Okay, so then you can have a record for that. So these are the things. The data needs to be original and ethical practice. Approval is required from all the one. I think we have the UIA, we have this IRAC for human, and then we have the IU animal ethical committee, 2 ethical committee. So all the research involved with human and animal has to go through this ethical committee, and this is the you cannot your research will not be valid without this ethical approval. Even if you are doing it and then sending it to the publication, they will ask for your ethical approval number or the reference from the ethical approval committee. Okay, involving animals. Yeah. Publications, yes, publications is one of the major things where I have a lot of conflict between the student, the stakeholders, students, funders, researchers, scientists, and the supervisors, because this has to be responsibility wise, it has to be distributed. Even in the same lab, different people are working. So how it will be shared and who will contribute how, then there's the percentage, everybody should be acknowledged. And of course, the acknowledgement for the what do you call the funding has to be there. And here in UIA, we always has to acknowledge the RMC, just management center, the Kulliyyah, all these things. And then for the publication, who will be the first author, who will be the corresponding author. Usually supervisor is the corresponding author and the student is the first author. But in certain cases, say you have taken help from somebody from other university or some other lab. Okay, so the person did it for you. He may become one of your co-author, or somebody who is expert in statistics help you to do the statistics. He can be your co-author. So these are the things has to be, you have to be open as well as you will be protected as well. Okay, so these are the things actually the supervisor and student has to comply, and of course the funding agency will definitely look into the acknowledgement part is mentioned or not. Okay, so Written regulations are no use unless it has been practiced. Regulations are there. If not practice, you don't practice, then it is of no use. So we don't want to be the provider of a mirror in the town of blinds. In a blinds town, mirror is useless, is it? Who want a mirror? A blind don't want a mirror, is it? They don't need a mirror. Sorry, they don't want. May want. So blinds are unable to appreciate the importance of mirror because they are not capable to see. So a mirror, when you see, look at yourself in a mirror, you feel happy. Okay, or you want to see how bad it is that you have to, So don't remain blind while you have vision and mirror is provided. That means the vision, you have your conscious and everything, and mirror as the all the SOPs and protocols are given. Okay. So science doesn't take place on the pages of textbooks or learned journals, but it is recorded there. Okay, so it is published in the article, but the taken place was the place you have worked in the lab. Okay, the quality of any work is only as good as the report of the that remembers in when the test tube. That means when you're the Nobel laureate who is getting the Nobel for his findings after 20 years of his research. That means all research has been done. That one has been there. So it is long been. So back to basic. We have to go for sincerity, honesty, integrity. What the moral says? Aren't we putting those basic things which already exist? Are we practicing them by heart or by body? Yeah. So we have to be, body and mind has to be there. So in good, there is no alternative of good research practice to upgrade, to uphold the integrity of the research. Okay, to integrity of your work. So as we said in our Islam, we can say this is amana. And everybody thinks in all religions, I think we believe that whatever we are doing, we have to do it with proper integrity. Okay, and then we have to put our heart and soul there. It's like that we own them. This is my work. I have to own them. Just like the mother own the child because he produced the baby. So you produce your result. It's become like your brainchild or your child. Is it? So be on that. That means try to own your own work. Then you will appreciate. Then you will do. You not allow anything happen. Just a mom protect from the child when you are small from anything, from heat, from sun, from rain. Is it? So you should protect your work from any bad elements. Is it? So that it will become more, your ownership will develop, and then that will be the beauty of the output, that you can become a good, what do you call, your things will be also, because good things create a good environment. Is it? Is a good things create a good environment, and good environment makes people comply more. They become happy. Is it? So let everybody happy, let everybody enjoy your output so that it will be useful for the community. Okay, I'm rushing a bit because the time is very short. Okay, so we have this another, can you see it? Or I have to share from there. Okay, can you see the slide? Hello, can you see the slide?
Yes, Prof.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm a bit rushing because at 12 o'clock, I think Prof. Tahir is coming for another lecture. And the topic, so this one I will go a bit, what do you call, I think a lot of things, what do you call, everybody knows about it. So I'm just going by slide by slide.